My mother had always been my anchor, the one person who could sense my emotions before I even spoke. That night, as I lay in bed, lost in thought, she walked in, just like she always did. Her presence was familiar, comforting, yet this time, something felt different. She stood at the doorway for a moment, observing me with concern before finally sitting down beside me. "You've been quiet lately," she said softly, brushing my hair back the way she used to when I was a child. "Something's on your mind." I hesitated. The weight of my emotions had been suffocating me for days, and yet, saying it out loud felt impossible. But she had a way of breaking down my walls, of making me feel safe enough to be vulnerable. "I think I'm in love," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. Her lips curled into a small smile, but there was something guarded in her expression. "That's a good thing, isn't it?" I let out a shaky breath. "It should be, but it's complicated." Her eyes narrowed slightly, the motherly instinct kicking in. "Complicated how?" I stared at the ceiling, gathering my thoughts. "She's different. There's something about her that pulls me in, but she's always holding something back. I don't know why, but I feel like she's scared of something or someone." A tense silence settled between us. I expected her to ask more questions, to give me the usual advice about trust and patience. But instead, she stiffened, her expression shifting from concern to something unreadable. "What's her name?" she asked, her voice cautious. I hesitated for a second before saying it. As soon as the name left my lips, I noticed the slight twitch in her expression. It was barely noticeable, but I caught it. A flicker of something, recognition, shock, maybe even fear. "You know her?" I asked, sitting up slightly. She opened her mouth as if to say something, then stopped. Her hesitation sent a chill through me. She knew something. "Mom," I pressed, my heart pounding. She let out a slow breath, forcing a smile. "No, it's nothing. I just want you to be careful." That was a lie. I could feel it. "You're not telling me something?" I accused, watching her closely. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for mine. "Some things are better left alone." My stomach twisted. Why was she acting like this? What was she so afraid to say? "Mom, if you know something, you have to tell me." She shook her head, her eyes filled with something that looked like regret. "Just promise me, whatever happens, you won't let this love blind you." Her words sent a shiver down my spine. She was warning me, but about what? Or worse, about who? I met her on a night that felt almost unreal, like fate had led me to that exact moment. She wasn't just beautiful, she had an aura about her, something mysterious, something that pulled me in before I even knew her name. Our connection was instant, intense, and for the first time in a long time, I felt alive. But from the very beginning, there were secrets. She would show up unexpectedly and disappear just as quickly. Whenever I asked about her past, she would smile but never give me a straight answer. It became a pattern, one I ignored because I didn't want to ruin what we had. "I don't want to talk about before," she said once, her fingers tracing circles on my palm. "Let's just focus on now." And I did. I let myself fall deeper, convincing myself that love didn't need to have all the answers. But the signs were always there. Sometimes, she'd check her phone and go quiet. Other times, she'd look over her shoulder as if she was afraid of being seen. I remember the way her hands trembled the night I told her I wanted something real, something permanent. "There are things about me you don't know," she admitted. "Things I can't explain." I didn't push. I thought if I gave her time, she would eventually trust me enough to tell me everything. But now, sitting in my room with my mother's reaction still fresh in my mind, I realized the truth had been right in front of me all along. "Why did you look like that when I said her name?" I asked again, determined to get an answer. My mother's fingers clenched around the fabric of her dress. She looked at me, torn, as if struggling with something she didn't want to say. "Because I know her," she finally admitted. My heart stopped. I had never introduced them, never even mentioned her before tonight. And yet, my mother's expression told me that whatever she knew, it wasn't good.
"How?"
My voice was barely above a whisper. She swallowed hard, eyes filled with something that looked a lot like pity. Because she's been here before. I frowned, confused. Here? My mother's silence was deafening. The air between us grew thick, suffocating. I could feel the answer hanging there, just out of reach, and yet, I wasn't sure I was ready to hear it. Mom, I pleaded, my stomach twisting in knots. Who is she? She took a deep breath, her voice barely steady. She's someone you should have never fallen in love with. The words hit me like a punch to the chest. I stared at her, my mind racing. This wasn't just about secrets anymore. This was about betrayal. Everything around me blurred as my mother's words sank in. The weight of her tone, the way her hands trembled. It wasn't just a warning. It was a truth I had been blind to. Tell me, I demanded, my voice sharp, almost desperate. She hesitated, looking at me as if she knew that once she spoke, there would be no turning back. Then, finally, she said it. She's married. The air left my lungs. I blinked, certain I had misheard. No, I whispered, shaking my head. That's not possible. But my mother's eyes told me everything. The pity, the sorrow. She wasn't lying. She's been with someone else this entire time, she continued. A man who trusted her, just like you did. I couldn't breathe. The memories of every night spent with her, every whispered promise, every stolen glance, they all shattered into something twisted and ugly. I had been living a lie. She told me she was afraid. I muttered, more to myself than to my mother, that she was hiding from something. She was, my mother confirmed, the truth. The betrayal cut deeper than I thought possible. The moments I had cherished, the love I thought was real, it was all tainted. I tried to reason with myself, to find a way this could all be a mistake. But deep down I knew. The secrecy, the fear, the way she always avoided talking about the future, this was why. My hands clenched into fists as a mix of emotions crashed over me. Anger, pain, humiliation. Had she ever truly loved me? Or was I just an escape, a temporary distraction from a life she couldn't bear? I need to talk to her, I said, standing abruptly. My mother reached for my arm, her grip firm. You already know the truth. What good will it do? I didn't have an answer. All I knew was that I couldn't let this end in silence. Then, as if the universe itself was mocking me, there was a knock at the door. My body tensed. My mother's expression hardened. We both knew who it was. She had come back. For what? To explain? To lie again? To tell me that none of it mattered? I turned toward the door, my heart pounding. I had spent so long chasing love. Now, I wasn't sure I even wanted to hear what she had to say. The knock echoed through the silence, each second stretching unbearably. My mother's gaze warned me not to open the door, but I had to. I needed to see her, to hear whatever excuse she had prepared. When I opened it, she stood there, eyes wide with something that looked like guilt, fear, or both. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then, she took a hesitant step forward. I need to explain, she said softly. I let out a bitter laugh. Explain what? That you've been lying to me this whole time. Her eyes flickered with pain, but I didn't care. She had stolen something from me. The love I thought was real, the trust one had given so freely. I never wanted to hurt you, she whispered. I didn't expect to love you. The words hit differently than I expected. They weren't comforting. If anything, they made everything worse. So, what was I? I demanded. A distraction? A way to feel alive before going back to your husband. Tears welled up in her eyes, but I refused to let them sway me. I had spent too much time believing in something that was never mine. I was going to leave him, she admitted. I just needed time. My mother scoffed from behind me. That's what they always say. I didn't turn to look at her. My focus remained on the woman in front of me, the woman I had given my heart to, only to realize she had never been mine to love. You should go, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. The warmth I once craved now felt like poison. I love you, she whispered, her voice cracking. I almost believed her. Almost. But love built on deception wasn't love at all. She hesitated for a moment, then slowly stepped back. I watched as she walked away, each step sealing the truth of what we had been, a mistake. As the door closed, my mother sighed beside me. You did the right thing. It didn't feel like it. My heart ached, my chest felt hollow. But maybe that was the price of betrayal, pain that lingered long after the lies were gone. And yet, as I stood there in the quiet, I knew one thing for sure. I would never let myself fall that blindly again.